We stand as one, walk with thousands.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dad Bods and Beers. We've got a cool one for you guys today, but as always, before we get into introducing our guest, we are going to introduce one of our primary sponsors. You guys have known for a while, we've been working with Mountain Ops and a couple other companies, and just last week, we introduced one of our new primary sponsors, which is Waze Energy. I'm addicted.
We appreciate your service.
Yeah, it stands for We Appreciate Your Service and Sacrifice. I realize that's what the little 2 on top of S, so it's
squared.
Square. Oh, is that what it means?
It does. You're going to have to take that out because that's going to be offensive to anyone who actually talks like that.
Okay, you've said way worse. But no, we just recently partnered with Waze. I have a pallet of energy drinks in my garage. We became pretty good friends with Luke and Bubba and Justin on our trip in Florida, and the mission's all aligned with backing veterans and first responders. And like they told us when we were there, 10% of all the proceeds go back to supporting veterans and first responders. So it aligns with what our goals are, because they're only like 5 or 10 calories, 200 milligrams of caffeine, which apparently don't have more than 4 in a day. I'm at 3. I think we're good.
I don't know where you're at. You wouldn't tell me.
Check out Waze.
You shushed me.
Shh.
Yeah.
Dude, when you have a cornucopia of energy drinks in your garage, it's like, how do you stop yourself?
I don't know, but
Next week on Addiction Recovery episode,
I've had to hide them from my kids.
Sure, I believe that. So check out Waze and grab some of those today. I'm sure we have a code. By then we'll put the discount online. I got to ask Luke. I know we have a code. We have a code.
Well,
anyways,
I don't know. I was going to do
orange cream.
some type of Jedi joke, like Star Wars
I
joke.
I gotta stop.
Make up a code and he'll make it the code.
Yeah.
It's probably Dad Bods, like every other single one of our other codes.
There you go.
So orange cream is my favorite right now.
Ooh, no.
Oh yeah, it's it's candy in a jar, dude.
You're candy in a jar.
Candy in a cup. Can. I should probably stop with the caffeine. Anyways, on to...
It's just 20 minutes of me and him is like giving each other...
I like caffeine. And I'm like...
Not sure what I'm doing here, but hey.
But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest today, Brick Allen. Thank you for coming all the way up here.
Yeah, excited to be here.
And then, because you're from Arizona, right?
I am from Arizona.
Nice. Like born and raised? Or?
Born and raised, 5th generation Arizona horseman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, story, like, just to hit it off the bat, I've got my great-grandfather. He used to drive 50 mule teams. So 100 mules at one time, because he was the only one who could bring this big old wagon full of water to a desert town. He's the only one that could turn the circle inside the town square with his 100 mules.
Oh, wow.
He'd yell one code and half of them would jump what's called a jerk chain. That's how they'd have to turn. And he was all voice commands. So very prideful in my 5th generation Arizona horseman.
Wow.
That's what, when we're eating as together, that's my Logan. That's how I train him to eat.
Yeah, just voice command, right?
Yeah.
Stop.
I was going to say,
It's the same thing with a jerk chain, right? You can jerk the chain and just tell them to stop right then and there, right? Yeah.
I actually have a little collar.
Oh, it's the buzzer. That's nice too.
So stupid.
He's over here getting mad at me for my intro. Making stuff up. But no, so
I did do that with my friend in high school, though. We had a little shock collar, and I had my friend try it. He was like, no, it doesn't hurt. I don't know. And I'm like, just go, and he put it right there on his throat, and it shocked the crap out of him, and he tasted metal for like 3 days.
Worst part is he probably yelled out because it was hurting him, and it shocked him a second time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Trauma and pain. But no,
He's another one. Sorry. I know we have a lot going on. He's another one. Like the first time I met him, I showed him.
Yeah,
that too.
No, the first time I introduced him to my family was at a family party, and I go, we walk in and no one knows him. I'm like, hey, this is Jerry. He's gay, and I just leave. And then like weeks later, my aunt comes up, it's like, so is your friend Jerry really gay? I'm like, no. It just made me happy. All right, carry on. Right,
anyways, so Brick, tell us
right.
about your traumatic story. And I'm like, no,
but I asked Brick to come on because he, like, the very first day we met a couple of weeks ago at Chad Hymas's ranch.
Yeah.
At Cheever's Roundtable is what it was called.
Yep.
And it was one of the most cool experiences I've had in a long time was that Cheever's Roundtable. And Brick was just talking to me, and his story really resonated with what we do, because he's been able to overcome a lot physically to be able to achieve his goals. And I thought, dang, a lot of us, whether it be self-inflicted or not, like we're all going through things.
Yeah.
And I think what you have to say could benefit a lot of people.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I mean, I have a firm belief that we're given certain experiences and we do a detriment not only to ourselves but to the world when we hold it in. We have stories that are meant to be told, and the stories we tell embolden others, strengthen others, and when we keep them in, it damages us, and that's the whole thing. And so, one of the biggest things about men's mental health is that we don't talk about things. And I've had this great, amazing experience that over 500 times I've stood in front of audiences to share my story. And so it's funny because people always ask me, did you go to counseling? And in one way I didn't go see a counselor. I had 500 counseling sessions with hundreds of people, thousands of people at one time. And then they would ask me questions. And so the point is that we need to share these stories. And mine is one that in Arizona, my wife jokes that I'm famous because I was at the airport here in Salt Lake traveling home to Arizona, and somebody came up to me and they're looking at me and they go, I know you. And I go, you do? Like family? And they're like, no, I know you. And I go, okay, this is going to sound weird, but do you know me because I'm the guy that was stabbed? And they go, that's how I know you. And it happens about once a week, just wandering around Arizona. And that's what I'm known for, is the guy that got stabbed. So now hopefully I've piqued your interest, so you'll keep listening to the podcast, so you'll kind of hear what that all comes and tells. But yeah, I'll just jump in. 20 plus years ago, I was married 1 year and 1 month. My wife was 3.5 months pregnant. We just bought our first house, 2 incomes, just really living this amazing dream. And our first year of marriage was ideal. I mean, everybody says that first year is the hardest. It was ideal. It was amazing. And we're just looking to the future, like this is this amazing thing up and around the bend. And so we come home one night, we just left my buddy's house. He was celebrating his child's first birthday. So here we are, 3.5 months pregnant, thinking, oh, this is us in the future. Come home, I pushed the button to close the garage door and went into the house, didn't lock the inner garage door, and we went to bed. Well, the garage never shut.
Oh.
And so at 5 o'clock the next morning, some guy walking through the neighborhood, and this is probably one of the safest neighborhoods in Mesa at the time, sees this open garage door, and so he just walks right in, and there's my wife's purse. He opens my wife's purse and starts going through it for some money. Doesn't find any money, so he gets angry after shoving his pockets full of M&Ms, because I guess that was the only thing of value that he saw.
I get it.
How you beat me to it? You're like,
no cash,
there.
M&Ms. It's crazy because we got the crime scene photos, and it's like Hansel and Gretel. There's M&Ms just everywhere. You can see exactly where he went because they're just falling out of his pocket.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's like,
How many M&Ms does she have?
Well, we had this. Yeah, we had this
bucket.
We had this whole thing of candy on the coffee table, and so he was just kind of eating them, putting them in his pocket. I don't know. It was kind of weird. But he goes into the kitchen and he goes through all the knives and he pulls out an 8-inch chef's knife. And then he takes off his shoes and he creeps into the master bedroom where I'm still asleep. Now, usually I'm a pretty light sleeper, but the last hour or so before I wake up, I'm kind of out cold. And it was 5 a.m, so it's kind of at that point where I'm at my deepest sleep. And we still don't know to this day what made him so angry. The fact that he thought we were hiding cash from him, or whether he just wanted to do more nefarious things by killing us and having more time, who knows? But while I was still asleep, he took that 8-inch chef's knife and he stabbed me in the chest. And he stabbed me so hard that the handle broke 2 ribs. So all 8 inches went in and the handle broke 2 ribs. And that's when I woke up.
Dang.
My wife screaming and kicking at him. And I come awake, and between the two of us, we shove him off the bed, and he tumbles into the drywall, and his foot gets caught up in the drywall. And he held on to the knife. And so as I sit up to see what's going on, trying to figure out what's all happening, my wife grabs a cell phone and she runs behind me and starts running down the hall. And this guy gets his foot out of the drywall, and he goes, I'm going to effing kill you. And he gets his foot, and he starts standing up. And as soon as he gets his feet, I joke and I say, that's when like the cowboy just like in me clicked. My dad, growing up, I was the smallest kid in school. Like literally my name is Brickman. I mean, you can't get a tougher name. But at 16 years old, when you're 5 foot tall and 93 pounds and you've got this larger than life name, I mean, you become a target. And so I was taught by my dad at that time, who was really amazing. It helped me understand it's not about size. It's not about strength. It's not about anything. It's about your inner core and who you are. And he started teaching me that a cowboy is the white knight of the West. It was the guy that would stand up for those that couldn't stand up for themselves, was the one that always gave respect to women, right? His word was his bond. Like he went through this whole list. And he always said that the cowboy was the one that would fight till the last minute for his family. And so that guy came up and started going after my wife, who's 3.5 months pregnant. I came off the bed. I punched him across the face. The only thing I could grab at was the knife. I grabbed it by the blade, and we started wrestling for control. And we lasted 3 minutes. And we know it's 3 minutes. I've got the 911 call. And I listened to it one time, and my heart breaks because it's just my wife crying out for help for me. Mm-hmm. And it's just heartbreaking. But at the 3-minute mark, you hear sirens. And I remember hearing sirens as I finally got this guy pinned to the ground. And for those of you that are listening, I'm no longer the 5 foot tall, 93 pound kid, right? I'm 6 foot pushing 220. And I'm not packing a lot more than, I got a little bit of muscle on me, let's just say.
They'll be able to see you.
They'll be able to see me, right? Mm-hmm. So basically, I'm not small at this point. So I've got him pinned to the ground. I've still got the knife by the blade, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on and why he's there and what's my next move. And I hear sirens in the background, and I black out because I've lost so much blood.
Yeah, I was going to say, wondering
3 minutes
is
is
going to
it.
happen.
Yep, 3 minutes is when it happened. And I go, as I go unconscious, he gets out from underneath me and takes that knife and he stabs me 2 more times in the back. So I stabbed a total of 7 times. And I'm in and out of consciousness for the next half hour, 20 minutes as they're getting me stabilized onto an ambulance to a waiting helicopter, and then put me and flying me out towards a hospital, right? And in that time frame, all I'm worrying about is my wife. So I didn't even realize I was injured that bad.
Yeah, just all the adrenaline rush. Yeah. You're probably like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I wake up and all of a sudden I'm looking down past my feet because I rolled over onto my back because I was on my stomach. And as I rolled over, I'm looking down past my feet and I see him running out the front door. So I think, oh, my wife's safe. And then all of a sudden I see the blood just pumping out of me. And I remember trying to stop it with my hands. I'm just putting it on my chest, whatever, and I black out. And then I gain consciousness and SWAT comes in and they've got 2 shields and 4 cops, coming in, and they've got the guns over the top of the shield. And I'm trying to yell out to him, he's gone. Well, that initial attack in the chest, it went through lung, diaphragm, and into my liver. So, 2 major organs, basically, when I got to the hospital, the liver was at about 15% functionality. The lung was so destroyed. Your lung actually has 3 lobes and you can operate on less of a lung. So they actually just removed the bottom third of my right lung, just stitched it up. And so now I operate on 2/3 of a lung on the right side. And put me on life support. I flatlined twice. I bled out 3 times. My body holds 9 units of blood. They put 33 units into me to keep me alive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they put me on life support after life-saving operations. And that's kind of where I ended up. Right.
So did he attack you just because you were the closest?
Yeah.
So you were blessed.
Yes, blessed. Now here,
I know that sounds horrible to say.
No, for sure. And here's the crazy thing, Tyson, and I'm glad you asked that because I don't get asked that a lot. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and we are given nuggets by God that help us prepare us for future things, right? While my wife and I were dating, we had this weird ritual where she's such a homebody, and she would go to bed 8 o'clock. Well, when you're dating somebody, you don't want to go to home at 8 o'clock. So she would go to bed and fall asleep, and I'd lay on the bed next to her. And she would be under the covers, and I'd be on top of the covers with the door open and her parents peeking in every 5 minutes, being like, hey, what are you guys doing in there? Hey, what are you guys doing in there?
That's what I do right now with my
I got 5 minutes.
She's 19, her boyfriend's
That's
over.
exactly
I'm like,
what I told,
no.
That's exactly what I told my girlfriend's parents too.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, nothing's going on, but a lot can happen in 5 minutes. Right? But the crazy thing is we were laying in bed and I was closest to the door that came into the bedroom at the time. And I don't know why I said this because my mom slept closest to the door growing up. I said, I will always sleep closest to the door.
That's so funny.
I do that too.
Because
I didn't realize that.
I'm the guy that like my wife and kids, when we're walking anywhere, I always push them to the inside of the sidewalk.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm always like, we're going on 13 years, me and my wife, and I've always slept closest to the bedroom door. And sometimes it's worked out to where, the woman who's had children sleeps closest to the bathroom door.
Yes.
Right. But and so it's like, I'm over here kind of like, my brain's wheeling.
So
of
I
like,
just realized I'm the
exactly
female in the relationship with Logan because I'm always the one closest to the building. He's protecting me.
He's protecting you. Well, he's hyped up on all that energy drinks. I mean, he's going to be like ninja style.
We've hit this point in the podcast and our business partnership and just friendship that I'm just not. I just don't even respond anymore.
He's like, you're an idiot.
I'm like, you're just making stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy that thought came to my head when my mom and dad didn't do that. I don't know where it came from. And then she held me to it. And so, yes, we were absolutely blessed that he came in and attacked me.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about being blessed in so many ways. We ended up they flew me to Maricopa County Hospital, rundown hospital that uses 40-year-old technology in Arizona, right?
And this was 20 years ago.
This was 20 years ago. So they're using equipment from the 1960s to work on me. And the craziest thing is Maricopa County Hospital has the top trauma surgeons, not in the state, in the country. They fly people from all over the world to learn how to handle trauma by these two trauma surgeons.
Oh, wow.
And they've never operated on somebody before together until I showed up that day. I mean, the timing was just perfect.
Sure.
And so I believe that we go through certain experiences in life because we are meant to use those experiences to elevate others.
Now, let me ask you another question from almost like a business perspective.
Yes.
Because like you do this. This is what you do now, right? You do speaking.
Actually, I don't. And that's the crazy thing.
Oh, really?
So I own I've owned several companies. Right now, I only own one. I've sold off the other ones. I speak purely pro bono.
Oh, interesting.
And I go to high schools and I get in front of students and I talk about mental health because when you're that little kid in school and picked on, I was suicidal, depression, everything was just, I remember going home from school one Friday and thinking, well, I'm not going back on Monday because this is it. I'm going to take my life this weekend. Right. Gosh. And something happened in high school that changed me, that between my father and a teacher stepping in, where I came to truly love myself for who I was and found an inner strength that to this day is still rooted in those experiences as a 16-year-old. What was that?
What was it?
So it's actually this really cool experience where I'm at my deepest point and it was just like these certain little things happened and it was just perfect timing between the three, right? So my dad's talking to me about, being a cowboy doesn't matter how big you are. At the time I was riding bucking ponies because I was small and I could ride these ponies and train them. As a 16-year-old, I had the mental capacity of somebody older and mature to train horses. So I'm riding bucking horses basically. And my dad's telling me, that's hardcore. Like how many of your peers at school are doing that?
Which, back up, I'm not a cowboy.
Yeah.
Right. But I've got a lot of cowboy friends. And I was like an asphalt cowboy. I used to drive trucks.
Okay.
And so, people hear the word pony and they just think cute little horse. No, I got kicked by a pony one time. Yeah. It's a big ass animal that hurts.
They're mean.
So, so it's like the fact you're riding bucking ones.
Yeah.
It's like,
so the ponies, they call them POAs, but they're usually about anywhere from 8 inches to 6 inches shorter than a full size horse.
Yeah.
So they're good size, right? So that's going on where my dad's trying to kind of give me this buildup of, you're this amazing individual, right? That's doing amazing things. I came home that weekend and I didn't remember it until years later when I was writing my book. And all of a sudden I wrote this portion and it was an unlocked memory. And it was my sister walking into the room. She'd gone to a church activity. And I'm sitting there literally in my room planning out how it's just going to be over. And she walks in and she goes, I got an extra donut for you. I just want to make sure you have it. I love you. Right? And I realized what I would be leaving behind.
Yeah.
So I somewhat recover and I show up to school the next day and there's this substitute teacher there in biology. And I swear he threw his lesson aside. He absolutely abandoned his lesson after 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days in, he's spotting something in me. And I don't know how he saw the signs because I thought I was hiding it. So when my mom and dad didn't even know about this until I was in my 30s. And he stops the lesson. He says, okay, I'm going to teach you guys something amazing about the human mind. And he takes this pen and he puts it on the desk right in front of me. And he looks at me and he says, our mind is so powerful that if we repeat it enough times that we can't lift that pencil because it's too heavy, eventually we will not be able to lift the pencil. He says, now think about it. When you went out and caught a fish and the fish was this big and you started telling people it was this big, he says, if you give yourself 3 or 4 years, the fish is now 2 feet long and a monster. And it doesn't matter if they show you pictures of the actual fish, you will tell them they're wrong and that's the wrong fish because your mind will believe it. He says the problem is that most of us look at ourselves and we see only the negative, only the worst thing that we see in the mirror, the thing that we hate, and that's what we hyper focus on. And so all we see are bad things about ourselves. And he says we have to change the way we talk about ourselves and we view ourselves if we're going to have any power to change the world for the better.
Wow.
And the bell rings and he says, Mr. Allen, I need you to stay. And by this time, like my whole goal was to get to my next class as fast as possible because that's where I was protected. My teachers were my protection and the hallways were just a hellish nightmare. And so as I'm staying behind, all I'm thinking is ticking clock where my bullies are now entering and filing into the hallway. And now I've got to get through this gauntlet to get to my next class the longer I'm sitting there. He goes, Mr. Allen, I want you to promise me something. And as soon as you promise me that you will do it, I'll let you leave this class. I go, I got to go. He goes, okay, then promise me. I said, whatever, I promise you. I'll do it, whatever. Just tell me what it is. It says for the next 30 days, you're going to look yourself in the mirror and voice out loud, you're going to repeat something amazing about yourself, and you can't repeat the same thing twice in 30 days. And he says, I want you to dig deep and see how awesome you are. I said, whatever, I'll do it. And I ran out of the room. 2 days later, that substitute teacher was gone. And I thought, man, I'm off the hook. But my dad's chirping in my ear. When a cowboy gives his word, he does it. His word is his bond. And if he does not have his integrity, he has nothing. And it's just eating away at me. So finally, I start to do it. I remember the first time I go into the bathroom, I turn on both faucets. I turn on the shower. I flush the toilet because I know my brother's hanging outside the door and he's just going to tease me about it.
So you're
right?
like already feeling the consciousness. Yeah.
And the first time I did it, it was just like, Brick, you're a cool guy. I turned off the faucets, jumped in the shower, took the shower, went off to school. Well, you can only say you're a cool guy so many ways until you run out of things. Mm-hmm. And so I remember looking in the mirror and winking and saying I was a ladies' man. You know?
I like that.
I remember flexing, 93 pounds, flexing in the mirror and saying, dude, you're the strongest person I know. And it was interesting because at the time, there was so much truth behind that because when you're dealing with that depression, it is a physical darkness that weighs you down. And when it's stimulated by going to school, you basically have to go to your nightmare every day. And yet I was going every day. That takes incredible strength.
I want to pause you right there because that's something that I don't think we've ever actually like talked about on the show or acknowledged, right? Because a lot of time, and this is getting better.
Yeah.
Society is getting better. For a long time, suicidal ideation, mental illness, especially in men, was always viewed as some weakness.
Yes.
But I feel like those of us who have been through this and we've been through our own battles, we've been through our own trauma, we've been through our own, torment, that like we almost don't like we don't really feel the need to like convince others that we've been through this gauntlet. But that's one thing that I wanted to address once you said that was because like the way that I look at it now is like if you see somebody that gets to the point where they have followed through and they've died by suicide.
Yeah.
My heart almost sinks even more because I'm like, man, how tough were the battles before that it finally got them.
They felt like it was too much.
Exactly. I'm like, you don't understand like it's like having been there in those situations, you're like feeling the insurmountable weight that you've processed, you've gone through and you've fought through, and then seeing somebody who may have, they've lost that battle being like, it's unfathomable. The amount of pressure and weight and pain that somebody must have gone through to where that was the release.
Yeah. And people don't even understand it because if you've never been to that deep oppressed feeling, that it isn't a physical oppression. Like that darkness of depression feels like a physical weight and we don't even see it. Mm-hmm. And the most amazing thing is I don't know how this teacher saw it, right? But for some reason, he put me on this path. And the amazing thing is by the time I got done with this, I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm realizing because I'm a cowboy and because of that ideation of I'm going to protect people, I'm going to be loyal.
Yeah.
Like I live up to all those values and they're very much part of my core and who I am. I realized that anybody that I was a friend with was privileged to be my friend because they had somebody that was diehard, loyal to the death. I remember saying that in the mirror and just realizing, and it was a switch. It was like I was no longer this person that was unworthy of friendship. It was that people needed to be worthy of my friendship.
Interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Like how, like that change, right? And I remember it was like a week later, I'm sitting there looking in the mirror, and I'm deeply religious. And I remember looking in the mirror and saying that I'm a worthy son of God, and was hit with such a overwhelming strength that's my core. Like, really, we're taught in the Bible that we're created in His image, or if we're created in His image, I mean, we just have infinite potential. So what's going to stop me? And the crazy thing is, I was talking to my younger brother, and he says, you know, those experiences in high school made you absolutely fearless in a way that I don't comprehend. I go, I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, that deep level of where you're at and you climbed out of, it was just like nothing stops you. And so I took that and I've applied it to every aspect of my life. I became absolutely fearless in the sense that if something gives me any type of fear or intimidation, I run towards it, because greatness is on the other side of that fear.
Well, it's like the buffalo versus cow concept. I'm sure you've heard those stories, right?
Yeah.
Where the buffalo runs into the storm versus the cow runs away from it.
Yep.
The buffalo gets through it sooner.
Yes. And stronger.
And stronger.
Yeah.
And he also has a story about a lobster.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the lobster. But no, I like that one a lot, because it's like, I'd much sooner grow up against a cow than a buffalo.
Yes.
To be honest.
Right.
But I want to kind of recap a little bit. Right. So we first off, the stories going through high school, I feel like there's so many guys and people who are going to be listening to this that are going to probably like put themselves in your shoes.
Yeah.
Because we all remember high school.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like one way or another, even the most popular kids, they still, like, a lot of them still had their own silent battles. The bullies, it's because they were bullied at home.
Some kids might feel like they're ugly, or they're not worth it, or they're not good enough, and they still have friends, but they're still alone.
Yeah.
And everyone feels that isolation, even when,
Yeah.
But just his story, that's amazing.
Well, so here's the interesting thing is, I showed up, I was at Lowe's, and I walked up, and this buddy of mine from high school was there, and I hadn't seen him since like our 5-year high school reunion. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking to him, and he goes, dude, because he started seeing on social media, I was posting more and more about this mental health and about depression and what I was going through in high school. He goes, I had no idea. He says, all I remember about high school is looking at you and wishing I was you. And I'm like,
isn't
dude,
it funny how that happens?
Yeah, I was like, dude, I wish I was you. You like had all these amazing friends that rallied around you, and we like had this emotional moment where it's just like we wanted each other's lives. Mm-hmm. We had no idea, and it's to your point. This kid was a very popular kid, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't even realize it. He says, by your senior year, Brick, that's all I remember, and you were the most popular kid in school, and yet I still was battling the depression my senior year. This all happened my sophomore year. So it goes to your point. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the high school football star or the kid that's eating lunch alone. Everybody's going through that battle.
Yeah, it doesn't. Mental health struggles don't discriminate.
Yeah.
At all. So I'm glad we kind of like got the backstory of like even farther back.
Well, we haven't even got over.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's like I like the backstory that we even went farther back of like the meaning behind. I'm a big believer in there's a meaning behind everything.
Oh yeah.
Too, right. And so what led you to sleeping on that side of the bed, and how that ended up more than likely saving your wife's life and your child's life.
And your child's life,
No doubt.
That undoubtedly.
Here's the unfortunate thing is we lost that child to a stillborn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So because of this attacker, we lost our home. We couldn't go back, and my wife just couldn't.
Yeah.
Right. Lost our unborn child.
Was it because of like stress and trauma?
Yeah. Yep. Lost my wife's complete sense of security and feeling of safety. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a professional keynote speaker, and I don't regret it in any way. But can you imagine me traveling and leaving my wife at home after a traumatic experience like that? Like, that doesn't live up to my core
stays
value.
With you for a lifetime.
Yeah, that doesn't live up to my core value, right? And protecting her and taking care of her, it's just what it is. So yeah, he literally took everything that we held except for each other. That's the only thing we were left with after the experience, was each other and mourning the loss of that child.
Oh, Brick, I'm sorry. That hit me in the face. I wasn't expecting that.
So why don't you tell us a little bit of how you overcame the stabbing? Because that's a cool story.
Yeah, it's,
Because like your dad or your brother said, you can just conquer anything. You're fearless.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. I think that what it is I think more and more of us are fearless, but we don't recognize. First off, we call it fear, but it's really anxiety, right? for most of us, we don't face life and death. We really don't. But what was interesting is growing up, whenever I was bucked off of one of those horses, my mom would immediately take me and dust me off and put me back on. And she says, if you don't face your fear in the moment, it will control you. And the moment it controls you, you've lost. You've lost all the potential that comes after it. Mm. And so I just learned that you have to get in the moment, right? So what's interesting is in high school, I learned a couple of things. I learned that it's about how you connect with people and how people around you lift you up. Like my sister showing up with a donut. It was life-changing.
I've been there. Me and donuts, we go way back.
Yeah, I mean, who knew that donuts are the cure to suicide? I mean, not to joke about it, but it's a small gift.
Kind of joking about it, but at the same time, yeah, it is sometimes hey, I was thinking about you, let's go to lunch. Yeah. Hey, it's the text message. I'm a big believer in, and I'm not great with it all the time, but like if someone pops into my head, I try to text them or I try to call them or whatever, because whether I need it or they need it, I don't think there's a coincidence there. No. And so like all joking aside, like, I mean, you can see how much that story, it's not the donut. No. It's that your sister was thinking about you. Correct. It's that your sister came in and acknowledged you and recognized you. And it was something that you needed in that moment.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. I mean, so it's the human connection. It's a couple different things. So I'm sitting in the hospital and basically the doctors put me on life support. They put me on this induced coma. So the machine is breathing for me 75% of the time. Mm. And the biggest risk right now is pneumonia. And they go out and they start talking to my parents and my wife. And they basically say, one surgeon walks up and he doesn't believe in like giving false hope. So he's like, hey, he's not going to make it through the night. So go ahead and gather yourself. We're going to go back and you're going to say goodbye.
Oh, geez.
And the worst part about this is 5 minutes before that, a nurse came out and said, the doctor will be out to see you in a second, and then placed a box of Kleenexes in the table right in front of them.
Oh, she set the stage.
So they're building up. It's just, what else are they expecting now, right? Yeah. And as my family breaks down.
And he really believed it.
He really believed it. Yeah, I mean, the amount of trauma that I experienced, the fact that I flatlined twice, I was
33 pints of
33 blood? Units of blood. So what you donate is a unit. My body holds 9. So, I mean, he believed it, and he'd been through enough trauma. The other surgeon that was there, as my family was breaking down, he kind of stepped up and he went up to my mom, and I say he was kind of taking pity on her. And he goes, hey, because my wife, like, she looks young at the time. I mean, when she was 20 years old, she probably looked like she was 16. So he probably thought it was like my little sister or something like that. So he goes right to my mom, says, what can you tell me about your son's health choices? She goes, he did gymnastics in high school. You know, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. He was an adrenaline junkie. She's like, I don't even know what to tell you. And he goes, I've been operating on young men in their 20s and 30s for most of my career. It's been almost 2 decades. He says, I've never seen a young man that hasn't drank alcohol or tobacco. Like I was extremely healthy. Like didn't even drink soda at the time. It was like, that was me. My goal was to be a stuntman in Hollywood. So I had planned my own stunts. Like I was at my physical peak. Right. And so the doctor, he basically says that. He says, because of that, your son has a chance. And my dad says, what is that chance? And he goes, maybe less than 10%. I wouldn't give him 10%. So they go and come back and see me. Now I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I don't want to get too into the spiritual side of things because I think that that's a very important thing, right? But I don't think that that's the focus here today. But my dad gave me what we call a priesthood blessing, which is basically a special prayer. And the coolest part, and the only reason why I bring that up is the coolest part is my grandfather was there present. My dad turns to the doctor after that and says, okay, what does this mean? How long is my son going to be in the hospital? And the surgeon says, well, he'll probably be in the coma for about 10 days. Once we bring him out of that induced coma, we'll probably upgrade him to about a 50% chance of living, and he'll be here for 6 months. My grandfather goes, no, my grandson's going to walk out of here in 10 days. And the most amazing experience was the look on his face when I walked out on day 9.
That's cool.
And it's a multitude of things, right? It's partly the faith that was put out there. Whether you believe in a higher power or not, there is an amazing power in faith when people believe you can do something. But I think that there was a couple different things that took place. When I was in high school, I found the power in connecting with people in the hall. And that's why I became this popular kid, is because I watched one of my friends, and every single time he was walking through the hall, he just plastered a smile on his face and said hi to everybody. Well, where I'm at in the hospital is this trauma center, and it's the burn unit. And if you've ever known anybody that's dealt with burns, it's the most painful experience there is. And so when you are a nurse and you're dealing with 99 burn unit patients and me, and every room you go into, they're complaining about how painful it is and they need more pains and the nurses can't give more pains. And so pain meds. And so these patients are yelling at the nurses that they're heartless and all these things. And they walk into my room and I smile. I say, thanks for coming in today. Thanks for helping me. Can you please do this thank you so much for, and I was just putting a smile on my face because I thought I'm going to connect with these nurses. They're going to become my best friends because that's all I had when my family couldn't be there. Mm-hmm. Well, the doctor comes in that first day and he says, this is what you need to do. You're going to breathe into this tube and blow this ping pong ball and it's going to help clear out your lungs. And what it's going to do is it's going to force you to cough. Now they broke 2 more ribs when they went into surgery. So I got 4 broken ribs. And the whole point is to get me to cough out the fluid in my lungs.
Oh, yeah, but coughing, I've had a broken rib. You don't even want to move. You don't want to breathe. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
I'm over here comparing myself to the guy who's been stabbed 8 times. Like, oh, I get it.
You get it.
I get it, man.
But that was seriously the hardest part. It was like one of the biggest pain, right? And the thing is, he says, okay, so we're going to do this once every 12 hours.
Yeah.
And he says, and then, on a shift, so every 12 hours, so they're going to be 6 hours apart. Every other 12 hours, you're going to get up out of your bed and you're going to try to walk. And this is how we're going to get you healed. I said, okay, that's great. See you later, doc, and walks out. And the nurse comes in to start the breathing machine. She does it. I cough. I double over in pain. The pain was so intense that 2 times my pain meds wore off when I was doing this. I blacked out, like went unconscious.
Yeah.
Right. But this first time this nurse comes in, I said, okay, listen, you're not coming back in 12 hours. She goes, what? I said, you're coming back in 6. She goes, no, the doctor's orders. I said, the doctor doesn't know me and I know my capacity. I know what I'm capable of. Please come back in 6. Said the same thing to the nurse that got me up and walking. And so I doubled down because I knew I could handle pain. I've been beat up so many times in high school, taped to trees, hit in the back of the head with rocks. Like, I know how to deal with pain, and pain does not scare me. And so I said, bring the pain. But the coolest part about it is this kind of got around to the nurses. And so every single time the nurse that would get me up to walk would get me out into the hall to walk. And my whole goal was I had to walk the halls of the entire perimeter of that upper floor of the hospital I was in. Every time I would leave my room to walk, the nurses would pile out.
Yeah.
And cheer me on. And I loved seeing their faces light up. It gave me power. And so the goal was to walk the perimeter of the hall, that top floor within 6 months. And I did it on day 8. I said, doctor, I'm ready to go. I said, you told me to do this with this, blowing this stupid ping pong ball up. I can do it. And you told me to do this with walking, and I did it. He says, I think it'd be malpractice if I let you go. He walked in the next day on day 9, and I said, I walked the perimeter 2 times today. I'm ready to go home. And I'm exceeding every goal you put for me. He says, we've got somebody in the operation room right now that needs your bed, so I'm going to let you go. That's why I walked out on day 9. It was a combination of past experiences teaching me I could handle it. It was those nurses coming out. It was my family standing at the end of the hall. Mm-hmm. I got this awesome picture of my 2-year-old niece at the end of the hall, coaching me through the walking. Right? It's not my story. Mm-hmm. It's my family story. And that's what's truly powerful is when you realize when you're battling depression, when you're battling whatever you're going through, that your company falling apart and you're just sitting there thinking, how am I going to do this? And how am I going to go tell my wife? The truth is, if you married her, she's an amazing woman that's going to stand by your side and say, we've got this together. And it's not your story. It's your family's story. Your kids need to be involved. I travel all over the world sharing this story. I've never once... one time I went to a school in Czech Republic and that school paid for my travel there. Didn't give me any money. I've gone to Hungary. I've gone to Alaska. I pay my own way because I'm just passionate about this. My business supports me in it. My business actually aligns with these core values because I do this and my kids tag along.
Yeah.
They're part of my story.
Real quick though.
Yeah.
I want to say this about Logan because I look up to Logan and he doesn't know. Well, he knows it, but I have several people in my life that are bipolar. And every one of them but Logan has lost their marriage. And his wife is amazing. And Logan works his butt off. And he does the job so that he is mentally incapable and all that kind of stuff. But his wife is stuck by his side. And it just reminds me of it. It's not his story. It's their story.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really cool. That's what came to my mind was just your situation, and just because Logan beats himself up, and it drives me nuts because he's amazing, and his wife knows he's amazing, and it's just like you got this, and so
Yeah. Well, Dan Clark was on your guys' podcast recently,
Yes,
right?
buddy.
And what did he say? He says, fix things at home first.
yeah.
If you don't have to go fix things at home, man, that makes it easier.
Well, I mean, thanks, dude. That
Well, it's true.
hit me pretty hard. But no, I love kind of the culmination of all this because, yeah, I mean, it is. I like what you're saying that it is. I mean, I've said that multiple times, sharing my story of like, there's parts that I just won't share because it's not just my story to share.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, trauma is trauma, but at the same time, there's specifics. But like, there's when I was going through my darkest period, my wife was pregnant with our second child, and I know the post traumatic incident while pregnant, treatment looks like from an OBGYN, and how much and how intense they were checking on my wife and her stress levels and everything for the next X period of time until my son was born. So I kind of feel and relate for you there. Like I said, that one kind of hit me in the face. But what Tyson was saying is that, I relate to that a lot of like, it's at one point in time you decided this is my person and nothing else will come between us.
Yeah.
Right. And there's times where I'm sure, not everything has been rainbows and butterflies all the time. Right.
Exactly.
But I appreciate, the way that you're telling your story, because you could seriously get up on this pedestal. I mean, look how amazing I am. Look at all these things that I did. And then there's a level of which you do deserve to do that. But I think the fact that it keeps coming back to like the lessons my dad taught me, what my sister did for me, what this teacher did for me, and remembering my friend, remembering my friend from high school, and realizing that like, yes, we are the main characters in our story. Yeah. But there are so many people that they're supporting cast all the way along the story. But at the same time, they are the main character in their story, and you have the opportunity to be supporting cast to them as well.
I love that. That's perfect.
And so I love this whole like, this is Brick's story and all that stuff. But it's like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, all the different nurses. Like, I mean, how many times, like, let's say a couple years later, another guy in the hospital giving crap odds, and he's being told you're not going to walk again or whatever. And then the nurse gets come in and be like, let me tell you about Brick.
I never thought about that. Right.
Like, okay, you think you can't do this? Let me tell you about Brick. And then it's like, so it's a ripple.
Yeah. It's a ripple. And like I said, I think that it's the power is when you can tell that story, like, right. When you can tell the full parts of your story that aren't your story, it becomes more powerful. And I'm not saying that you have to, but for instance, my wife is amazing. She can't get up in front and talk to anybody, right? But she's given me full carte blanche, and I could talk about anything that we went through together. And so that's how she supported me. But what we have to understand as married men is that the way that the couples deal with trauma is three different parts. It's how do you deal with it as a couple, and then how does each individual deal with the trauma? See, the way I dealt with this trauma is I started within 1 month of getting out of the hospital, I started getting in front of youth groups and talking about how it's what you learn today as a youth that's going to empower you to do amazing, miraculous things in the future. And I use my story to get their attention because they're so stinking into their stupid phones. They can't listen to a story being told unless you shock them out of their phone. And so I use it to shock them out of their phone. My wife could not show up to hear me tell my story and to talk about it in front of these youth groups. And that's where I primarily focused for the first 10 years. And there was a part of me that could be angry, right? As a husband, why aren't you supporting me and showing up? But somehow I recognized that it was actually hurting her to show up. And so the way I supported her in her story and her process was we got an opportunity to move all the way across the country because everywhere we went in Arizona, people just knew us. Oh, you're the guy that got stabbed. And they'd come up and talk to us about it. And it was traumatizing her. So we picked up and we moved to Maryland, spent a year out there. Let my wife heal because that's what she needed to heal.
I love that.
We have to support our spouses in their healing process, even when it's contradictory to how our healing process is. We support them individually, and then we've got to work together to figure out how do we do it as a couple.
See, and for me, I feel like I'm in the thick of it right now. just with the growing pains or the lack thereof with our company.
Yeah.
And we work our butts off, and financially, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And a lot of heartache and a lot of just what are we going to do? And I feel like she supports me so much. And there's days where I'm just like, I don't know what to do for her because I can see it in her face, but I'm feeling it too. So I'm sitting here like, so any advice? Because it's like because I'm in the thick of it, and you have experienced all of this. It's just like you're talking about religious and all this kind of stuff, and you talk about like Christ has went through everything.
Yeah.
And I say prayers and I do all this kind of stuff to help me understand how to better myself and better my wife and make sure that they know they're loved, and I'm going to support them, but it's still hard.
It is super hard. So my wife, last May of 2024, we were on a trip and she had an anxiety attack that debilitated her. And just for a while, she couldn't even leave the house. Like it was
from that.
It wasn't from. It was a combination of things. She had kind of healed from it, but I think that it was just a bunch of triggering things, and we don't really know what the full trigger effect was. But she went to this point of just not being able to feel like she could function, right? And one of the most amazing things that we did is she initiated this, but it's something I recommend that if you're going through it. She initiated, and she told me one time, she's like, I'm trying to talk to you about what's going on, and your phone's in your hand. I just absolutely need you to put your phone down and be present. And it changed everything. I went from going into the bedroom with her and putting my phone, being on my phone, to my phone went on my nightstand, and I would not touch it until she fell asleep. And she would talk, she would cry. I would just sit there in silence and hold her. But it was the fact that was what her healing needed. And I was able to ask, because we weren't very good at communicating. We just assumed what each other needed, and we got lucky. We discovered what each other needed for healing when this happened by luck, not by communication. But in this moment, our marriage is in the best place it's ever been. And it's because she told me, put your stupid phone down and be present with me. And I did it.
I love it when they're direct. I know that sounds weird, but there's a lot of people that like, sometimes at the beginning of our marriage, Candace would not tell me what she wanted. Right. She was like, you should know what I want. I'm like, how am I supposed to know if you don't tell me?
Well, this is like, I'm glad
and now she tells me. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that. But sometimes she doesn't even know what she needs.
No.
And it's just like, what can I do? Like, because you can see the pain in her.
Well, I kind of like how this conversation has gone, like, obviously hearing all your story, but then there's like the relatability, and the mass majority of people listening to our podcast are like guys from mid-20s to literally mid-60s.
Yeah.
Right. And then I don't know what the demographic in there about who's married, relationships, all that kind of stuff. But the point is, there's a large group of men in there that are in a committed relationship. And it's funny, a lot of things that you're saying right now, things that Tyson and I have talked about, and kind of where we are wrapping this podcast up at, is that like you're saying all of that, and then for the sake of privacy and me and my wife's situations and things like that in our conversations, she gave me some very direct feelings just literally a handful of days ago. And it kind of floored me a little bit of her telling me exactly something that she was feeling and she was needing that I didn't know was a thing. We don't have these big, massive problems or things like that, but it just almost like it kind of floored me. And then I kind of got this anxiety attack of like, what if I wasn't listening in that moment? Yeah. Like if I had not been listening in that moment, that could have been a nail in a coffin. Yeah. It could have been one more, it could have been like if we were having these massive problems or things like that, those are the types of things that I think end up really being a detriment in some people's relationships and some people's lives. And a lot of what you do probably has a lot to do with your phone. A lot of what we do has a lot to do with our phone. I mean, I do social media for a living. I'm like, this is my job. Yeah. And I don't have a 9 to 5. It's an all day, every day when it works. And so I talk about myself. I talk about the podcast. It's always the me.
He never talks about me though.
I know. I get enough. But my point being is that like, had there not been this moment of everything happens for a reason type conversation where like I heard what she had said in that moment, like I'm looking back now, like the repercussions of what that could have been. Yeah. And just her feelings alone of feeling alone or feeling like not seen or not heard or like disappearing into the background, because that's one of my biggest fears is my wife disappearing into the background again. Yeah. And so I appreciate you bringing all that stuff up, and that's kind of reaffirming some thoughts and some plans, because with that being kind of over the top about everything I do, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah. Now I'm going to overdo this because you've brought this up.
Well, because you want to. As men, we're built to fix things, and we want to fix our wives. The hardest thing is for us is, you really want to make a wife mad is go and ask her what's wrong, and she doesn't even know, and she doesn't know how to explain it, and you push and you pressure.
That's me right now.
Right? And you're pressuring, like,
because
I know
you need to fix it, like, because you don't want her to feel what she's feeling.
And how different is the conversation is, honey, I know that you don't quite know what you need, but I want you to know that I'm present. And if that's all you need, that's it. I'm present in this moment.
I should have been doing that a long time ago.
Yeah, but like, how are you supposed to know that? Like, they don't have a husband 101 class that teaches you that. They have a man's class 101. Well, stuff your feelings down and fix it.
I feel like sometimes as a man, like, it's like, we like to view ourselves as like king of the castle, right?
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, I feel like any guy that's worth his weight is like, understands that the queen of the castle is just as important, if not more important.
Oh, my house would not function without
right.
my
That's
wife.
what I'm saying.
No,
right?
yeah,
Or like my big fat Greek wedding. She's like, your dad may be the head of the household, but I'm the neck.
Yeah.
I told her I have to die first, because if she dies, I'm like, I will not know what to do.
The point being is that, like, we as men, I think all the times we want to build our wife her throne.
Yes.
And we want to like shine up her crown and all that stuff. But sometimes she just wants you to just like, just calm it down, bring it down. Like, we don't have to build the throne right now. We don't have to build the castle. I just want you to be here and be with me and listen and be attentive.
Okay, I'm gonna flip that on its head for you for a second, because the generation that our wives come from, we assume that they want us to build their throne, but in reality, they want to build their own throne. And we have to give them the tools to do it.
I like that a lot.
Especially, I see that, and I especially see that in Logan's wife.
Yeah. Like,
I really do.
My wife, the biggest thing that was the biggest blessing to her is I didn't give her a job. I had a position that needed to fill, and she actually met the standards. And I own a majority of my company, but I went to my other partners. I said, I know what you guys are going to say. I'm hiring my wife for this position. She's going to do amazing. And she has. But her having that job and purpose and feeling the need and giving contribution to our company and everything, it escalate. I mean, it just elevated her
Probably
to a
does it
different
better
level
than anybody else could.
No, for sure. And she tells me all the time, she's like, I am so grateful for this. It gets me out of the house where I'm not just sitting there, wallowing in it. I feel like I'm contributing, because I'm in the same place you are. So my company last year, and let's just say that 7 figures was my profit last year. Mm-hmm. Right now I'm in upper 6 figures in negative operations right now because of Doge. I love Trump. I'll say it. But the things that he's put in place, I do a lot of work with government agencies. It's slowed it down.
And mine is just no one's buying right now.
Yeah, it's just a weird time, right? But when you go from 7-figure profit to being in the whole upper 6 figures, and now my wife's at the company and she feels like she's helping. Instead of me coming home and be like, I don't know what's going on, right? She's in the thick of it with me, and we sit there and have these amazing conversations about how are we going to climb out of this together. It's our story, and that's the key, right? And I know that I know we need to close this up, but I just really had a thought come in here, and I really want to put this out there. One of the most amazing things that we saw, and I don't want to get very political, but with Erica Kirk, was that forgiveness statement. What that did is it gave permission to the entire world to forgive that man. And it's something that I learned in my experiences. When I came out of the hospital, I had already forgiven my attacker, and it gave everybody in my family permission to forgive that man. What it taught me is that, as I reflected on it years later, how many of us need to forgive ourselves? Forgive our wives for not understanding our position. For like, the forgiveness is the power and the key to really pushing a marriage into such a solid place. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing for men that we have to do is we have to forgive ourselves, because I think that a lot of problems in marriage become because there's resentment held on one side or the other, because we just can't let go of something. And the truth of the matter is when you sit there and you're present, absolutely present, and not thinking about anything that's contributed to it from the past, you're freeing yourself for the future, because that's all it is. Anger, hatred, resentment, all the things, it holds us back. And as soon as we forgive and let it go, that's when true freedom for the future opportunities come into play.
I think that's a beautiful thought to wrap it up on.
This is not what I was expecting, because I was expecting you ran a marathon. We're going to talk about all over your achievements. We didn't even touch that.
But I like this because it's like the story of resilience and like comeback, but at the same time, it doesn't make it so unobtainable that somebody who's fighting their own battles, it doesn't have to be a stabbing moment. It could be anything. And so Brick, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for sharing. I know
Logan
this
Tyson,
probably
thanks for having me, man.
literally like the Cliff Notes version of your story, I'm sure. So if somebody wants to learn a little bit more, they want to hear a little bit more, they want to see a little bit more, where can they go?
Biggest thing is and it's crazy because I don't really, my focus isn't men. It isn't, it's teenagers, right? I love teenagers. And I think that the healing comes from that point. So I've got a book out called The Bully Guard. It's a self-help book for teens that's written a little different. It's written my story in high school as a story. And then at the end of every chapter, I basically say, if you're dealing with what I dealt with in this chapter, whether it's suicidal ideation, trying to make friends, feeling like you're alone, whatever it is, it gives helps at the end of every chapter of how do you overcome it. So that's The Bully Guard. It's on Amazon. Apart from that, you can go to my website. Very easy to find me, brickmanallen.com. And I would love to come out, speak to your youth groups. I do it for religious groups, for schools and everything like that. But that's my passion. That's what everything leads to.
We got a group we need to get you in touch with, like Stand for Kind. A bunch of.
I introduced you to Jessica.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming out, Brick. Thank you for sharing your story. And check out everything that Brick's put out there. And really, really, really pay attention to what was said today. So we'll catch you guys next week.
Toodles.